Hello, and welcome to episode 5 of Dare to Speak Difficult Conversations That Can Change Everything. I'm Eve Stanway, coach and psychotherapist, and today I am going to be talking in more detail about the core tool that I use in my coaching work to help navigate difficult conversations. In my book, Conversations at the Shoreline, which is available, you can take a look at my website. The notes are in the show note if you'd like to get a copy. I talk about how we navigate difficult conversations. The title, Conversations at the Shoreline, came from an idea that I had in my mind while I was writing the book about the way that when we're having a difficult conversation, sometimes we're between the fluidity of the sea and the stability of land. I imagined taking a stroll along a beach with a loved one or just by myself, thinking about having a crucial or difficult conversation. Actually, at the time that I was writing the book, I wasn't by the sea, I was within a forest. But wherever you are, if you're walking along or if you're sitting, reflecting, whatever your situation is, when you are navigating the reality of trying to have a difficult conversation, there's a whole loaded process. There's how you feel in your body, any tension that you might be holding. There's your fears and worries and doubts about whether or not you'll be able to have the conversation, when you will have the conversation, how you will have the conversation. And remember, we're talking about difficult conversations. And one of the trademarks of a difficult conversation is it goes badly. That's typically how we know something is a difficult conversation. It's like a high wall that we've been trying to climb over again and again, and we nearly get to the top and then we slide back down to the bottom again. Because what makes a conversation difficult often isn't the topic or the subject matter, although that can definitely be a factor. What makes a conversation difficult is the fact that we keep trying to have it and we keep not being able to succeed to get our point across or get the other person to listen or get them to open up or able to speak. This might be a situation where you have a child or a friend or a loved one and you know that they're going through something difficult and you want to encourage them to speak to you. You're laying out the welcome mat and saying, please, tell me what's happening with you. And they're reluctant. If they're a teenager, maybe they're slamming the door in your face and saying, go away, you wouldn't understand anyway. If there's somebody maybe that you've got a relationship with, they might become defensive and say, well, there's no point in talking to you. I've tried and you don't listen. So what happens is defensiveness, fear, shame, blame, being critical, criticizing ourselves. These are all the things that make conversations difficult. And in my process, which I teach in my course, in my book, in my coaching spaces, in this podcast, I show you how to navigate that. And we're going to use psychological principles, conversational principles, and I'm going to say common sense. One of the hallmarks of my work that I've found is people say, oh, well, I already knew that. The reality in life is we already do know stuff, but knowing isn't knowing. There was somebody who used an example about knowing what a broken leg is. Knowing what a broken leg is very different from knowing what it's like to experience a broken leg. There's knowing and knowing. There's the knowing from having failed, and then there's the knowing from having succeeded. And the aim with this process, and I'm going to be speaking about in these podcasts, the aim of these podcasts is help you discover the knowing of success. Because we learn through failure or we get stopped by it. We try again and it still doesn't work, or we adapt. We reflect and then we take action and we move forwards. And this podcast, this work, navigating difficult conversations, is sometimes imagine it's like picking our way through lava. You know, we're jumping from stepping stone to stepping stone, and sometimes we stumble, sometimes we fall slightly, we waver. Sometimes we just think, oh, it's too far. I can't go. I can't do this. I'll lose too much in the attempt. Because in the end, we're fragile. We've got egos, we've got self esteem, we've got worries and fears and doubts. Sometimes the place that we're clinging to feels safer than what we might give up if we try and improve the situation. And these are the things that make a difficult conversation. I can't count the number of times I've heard somebody say, oh, I just thought, well, I'll leave them. I'll give them some time to process. Sometimes that is what people need. You know, if somebody's saying, can you give me some space? It's a really good idea to give them some space. But sometimes we're giving them space because we're frightened that if we step forwards, they might say something we don't want to hear, or they might reject us, or they might push us back. And I see this very often in the way parents are talking to their teenagers, balancing that act between giving a teenager space, but leaving them alone so that they feel that you're not really that interested. I remember one client, and she was really struggling with her daughter. And her daughter kept rejecting her and saying, you don't understand, and would walk away and would not have conversations with her. And so she had rung me up to talk to me and book a session because she was saying, I don't know how to reach my daughter. And that was first of all, that was an incredibly brave thing for her to do, but it was also an opportunity for us to talk about what maybe her daughter did actually need from her. And I know it sounds bizarre, but this is one of the reasons why I'm doing this, because the coaching space is bizarre, and the solution for one person is not going to be the solution for everybody. Although my core principle of how I teach difficult conversation, I have really field tested this and it does work. I have tested it. But in her case, the solution actually was when her daughter didn't want to speak to her face to face. She couldn't cope with her mother's facial reactions, as it goes. So what happened is they started to having conversations through the closed door. And her mother would sit outside her daughter's closed bedroom door, and the daughter would sit on the other side of the closed bedroom door, and the conversation began. Now, that isn't something I'm going to recommend to all parents: sit outside your child's door and have a conversation. But in that situation, when we looked to clarify what the situation was, we looked to listen and we tried to understand. Actually, that was a solution, because eventually that door opened a crack, and then it opened wide. And then her daughter was able to have conversations and tell her how she was feeling face to face walking down the road. So we never know quite what the actual individual solution's going to be. And no matter how bizarre the solution is, we're still going to get to it. So the core principle that I've developed in my book is what I call the magic 3. And it is magic. It may not be the world's most original name, but it is a magic, and it is 3. And the principles are: clarify, communicate, correct. Sounds very simple. How does it work? Well, let me tell you. So clarify. It's very easy to think that what we need to do is clarify what the other person is doing, what they're doing wrong, what they need to change. The problem is that when we try and clarify it that way, the other person will hear it as blame and criticism. They will hear it as a complaint. And they may be shamed by it, and it may make them feel bad, or it may make them feel defensive. And then the part of their brain that will be triggered to act will be that defensive part of their brain. So they won't be listening, they'll be repelling what you're saying. And that's where these old argument patterns happen. So clarify means taking the time and saying, what is it that I need to happen? What am I trying to say, what do I need? We very carefully, and it is hard work doing this, and it's a lot of my coaching is going through this process with someone, but you can do it. You can journal it. You can talk it through and record it and play it back to yourself. You can talk it through with a friend. The discipline is saying, clarifying, what am I feeling about this? So say we take somebody who continually fails to, I don't know, put their cup in the dishwasher. They put it next to the dishwasher, but not in the dishwasher. And you feel like you've said, oh, why can't you put your cup in the dishwasher? Well, we're going to then clarify that. Why can't you put it in the dishwasher? Why can't you put it in the dishwasher? What we're doing there is that we're asking somebody a question in the hopes that they're going to explain why they can't do it and then magically start doing it. That's a really complicated communication pattern. The clarity work comes when we say, I would like it if cups are put straight in the dishwasher. Now, when we shift, and that's really simplifying it, and we're going to repeat this, we're going to go through it many, many, many times over. You can go in the book, the resources online, listen to the podcast. We're going to go through this again and again and again. And if you have a situation, remember, you can always message me and I will cover your particular topic. I won't name you, but you'll know it's you. I would prefer it if cups were put straight in the dishwasher. Fairly trivial. If somebody is asking for a divorce, I need to look at our relationship because I feel it's not working for me anymore. I am raising my prices over the next year to reflect the value that I offer. I would like to write a book. I would like to have more time to go dancing. I would like some peace in the mornings. I would like the keys to be put in one place. All of these are statements about what you would like. Now, remember, this is a difficult conversation, okay? But the first place that we start is with I. What is it that I want? What is it that I need? And we're going to have some difficult conversations because we don't think, well, it's trivial. Why am I asking? It'll just cause a problem. They won't do it anyway. What's the point? Oh, it's stupid. I could just do it myself. It'd be quicker to do it myself. Oh, I just won't make a fuss. It's true. All of these other dialogues will come around in your head and millions more. All for you. You'll have your own flavour. You'll be able to think about them right now. But clarifying in order to have a difficult conversation means I would like to have a conversation about this. I would like to start the conversation about this. I would like to offer you space to tell me what is going on with your life. This is an I statement. And in the delivery of that, I don't know if you'll notice, you'll be able to hear it in my voice. You might be able to see it if you're watching this on the video. There's a calmness in that. And that's very, very, very deliberate. Remember, calmness is contagious. Just as fear and stress and anxiety, oh my God, that person's so stressy, now I feel stressed. Calm is also contagious. So when we're able to be grounded, when we're able to take a breath, when we've done the work, and it is work, I'm not going to say it isn't, but it is work. What is it that I need? I don't want to shame, blame, criticize. I want to say, what do I need? What do I want? What would I like? What do I desire? When I can do that work, the conversation starts with us, inside of us. And when we stop looking at all the faults that the other person is doing and all the labels that we can give them, when we stop looking at all the faults in ourselves and all the labels that we give ourselves, then we might get down to a calm, quiet sentence. This is what I need. I want you to know I'm here for you. I'm going to sit outside your door. And if you need me, I'm here. Maybe you're trying to get somebody out the door to go to school. I need us to leave for school at 9 o'clock or 8:30. And I need the things to happen so that we can leave on time. When we state it that way, we do something really profound in the other person. First of all, if we're in an established pattern of argument, they are very, very likely going to miss that we've changed the way that we've said it. Because the way that people operate through habit, which is how you tie your shoelaces, it's how you write, it's how you drive your car. If you drive a car, we do things through automatic habit. We also get into arguments in automatic habit. It's the same thing. So as soon as we hear the subject raised of the cup near the dishwasher, we're like, oh my God, I can't believe you're doing that again. Yeah. So the person gets into they're in the habit. Their autopilot takes over. And we can say, their autopilot has taken over. What I need to be able to do is just say it calmly again. And that's the communicate. Communicate is when we say it. Broaching the subject, we can think, oh my God, when am I going to do it? When's the right time? I'm going to tell you something about difficult conversations. Trying to have a difficult conversation with somebody when they're already stressed or when they're busy in the middle of doing something is definitely, you're going to load the cards against you on that one, I'm afraid. But sometimes there isn't a great time to have a difficult conversation because this remember, a difficult conversation. And so the chances are you're in the established pattern of argument. So what I'm going to say is start. Okay? Try not to pick a terrible time to start. Good times are going for a walk, driving in a car next to each other. Very often, difficult conversations work better if we're not eyeball to eyeball. Difficult conversations should not be done when we are inebriated in any way. Personally, I would say don't start a difficult conversation after about 8 p.m. because you haven't got time to get to the end of it. Or first thing in the morning. Pay attention to the person. Remember, you're going to have these difficult conversations, you're going to succeed. So, clarify, what is it I need? Not what is it that you're doing, or you always do, or you never do. What do I need? And you try and create that as an I statement. And that's quite hard to do. But if you've got one and you're struggling with it, reach out and I'll show you how to craft it into an I statement. And I will keep talking about this throughout these podcasts. This is the core principle and it works. I've tested it, trialed it with thousands of clients and people. Clarify in an I statement, doing that work. Communicate it, say it. Watch the other person get triggered into the old argument pattern. It will happen. And this is the crucial part of the magic three. It's the bit that makes the three magic, is correct. Correct doesn't mean jump all over them for being difficult. I don't mean that. That's not correcting. What correct means is when it leaps off the rails, it jumps off course and the flood of emotion starts to happen. We go back to the original clarity statement. I'm asking for the cup to be put in the dishwasher. I'm asking for us to be able to leave on time. I'm asking for some help packing for the holiday. I am asking for some time to read, to write, to dance, to yoga, to reflect. I'm offering you. I'm saying I'm available if you want to speak with me when you are ready. Well, I tried talking to you the other day and you weren't even listening and you didn't care and then you just started lecturing me about X, Y, and Z. You're right. I did. I didn't mean to, but I definitely did. So I can understand. But I'm telling you, I'm letting you know now that I'm available if you do want to go through that. So the crucial aspect of this, and I will emphasize this probably until you're like, I get it now, Eve. The correct part is the essential part of the magic three. We clarify what it is that we want or need or what we're trying to communicate, and we do it in a way that is around us, not around the other person. The second thing we do is we communicate it. We say it. We try and pick the best time that we can, but we recognize that with a difficult conversation, there's probably no ideal time. Okay? We do our best. Remember, that's all you can do. And then when it goes wrong, and I'm saying when, because it always goes wrong. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a difficult conversation. Even if it isn't an established pattern of argument, when somebody hears something that they're not used to hearing, sometimes they can go into shock, they can go into panic, they can go into fight or flight. When people go into fight or flight, they go into, it's called fight or flight. They go into fighting back, oh, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. They go into flight. Oh, I don't want to talk about this now. Why are you bringing it up? I'm leaving. I'm leaving. I'm leaving. I'm going to run away. I'm busy. Yeah. They go into shutdown. They literally blank out and go non-responsive. That's something I come across a lot when I'm working in couples, that one or the other person within the couple has just gone into shutdown mode. They're non-communicative. Or they go into fawn, and that's kind of people pleasing. And that's when we feel really worried about something. We're like, yeah, 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 okay, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. You get that a lot with children. I speak in one of the other podcast episodes about the power dynamic between adult and children. And that can mean that children often just try and please you, but that's not getting to the difficult conversation either. It's all right. It's all right. I'll deal with that. No, I don't want to be a fuss. Instead of going, actually, I need to be a fuss. This is really bothering me. So clarify, communicate, crucially correct. Correct is our willingness to, because we've done the work, remember, to clarify what it is that we want or need or we're trying to say or what we're offering or whatever it happens to be. And the correct is when we simply go back to that statement. Here's an analogy. Imagine trying to land a helicopter on a really, really windy day, to land on a particular point, and the wind's blowing you. I don't know, you're probably not, chances are, a helicopter pilot, but there may be some out there. If you are, contact me and let me know what it's really like. But if you're trying to land on a spot on a really windy day, you're going to get blown left and right and backwards and forwards. If you're using clarify, communicate, and correct, if you've established your clarity sentence or phrase, and you're willing to stick with it in a nice, calm way, in a grounded way, and we're going to talk about grounding, then you can afford to go back to it again and again. And what will happen in the other person is eventually they'll start hearing the repetition. Most panic or fight or flight takes about 15 minutes to dissipate. That's the kind of adrenaline system going through the body. So if we can maintain calm without getting drawn into an argument for 15 to 20 minutes, we can usually get the other person to begin to start to listen to what we're saying. And we're not threatening them, we're not attacking them, we're not shaming them, we're not blaming them. We're simply saying, I need this to happen. And we're going to talk in a later episode about what to do when we have done the magic three, clarify, communicate, correct, and the other person still won't do it. But we're going to talk about that then. So I'm going to leave you here now. We are going to pick this up again and again and again, and you'll see how it works. It does take a bit of effort to apply it. Please do take a look at my book. Please do take a look at the book is available on audio if that's better for you. You can download a free chapter on the website. Just go to the website, get a free chapter. You're listening to this, so you already know the sound of my voice. But there's a chapter available for you there if you want to have a taster of that. And we're going to keep talking because this podcast is called Dare to Speak. Difficult conversations that can change everything. And it's not just a fancy title, it's a process and it's a skill that you can learn. So well done today. Take a breath, reflect, notice what you take with you. Please do follow, like, subscribe, do all the fancy stuff on the podcast. Take a look at my website. There's loads and loads of free resources there. Let me know your difficult conversation that you are handling right now, and I will do a podcast episode around it. I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.